Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here and today I'm doing a book haul. So I was lucky enough to go to a publisher event in April and also picked up quite a few books from various other publishers at other times. So I've got quite a few here, so let's get straight stuck in. One that I was sent from the publisher is Truth or Dare by Non Pratt. Now, I just read a Non Pratt book recently called Remix and I quite enjoyed it. It was quite a nice YA contemporary story. Now, I don't know anything about this one apart from the fact it says love is a dangerous game. So, it says here that Seth is prepared to do anything to help his recently disabled brother, even if it means putting Claire's love and life on the line. When you're willing to risk everything, what is there left to lose? So, and the front, in the front says truth and says Claire hates being the centre of attention, but if it means getting Seth Mallett to notice her, it's a risk she's happy to take. So this looks like one of those two perspective stories where you read it from one side and it's one perspective and the other side and it's the other perspective, which so far I've had troubles with because I found them a bit repetitive. So I'll be intrigued to see how this one is. I like Non Pratt's writing and this comes out on the 1st of June, so I will try and get a review up before then. Next up is one that I had on pre-order. I couldn't help myself, and that is A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J Maas. I loved A Court of Mist and Fury after not finding A Court of Thorns and Roses a bit meh. I loved A Court of Mist and Fury. I mean, just loved it. I found it so emotional and such a fun ride, so I just couldn't not put this on pre-order. So I treated myself to this on pre-order. This is, well, the original Court of Thorns and Roses was a retelling of sorts of Beauty and the Beast, and this is book 3, so I won't tell you anything about it because I don't want to ruin it, but you should definitely persevere if you've read book 1 and weren't too sure, or if you're a bit nervous. I mean, book 1 I didn't think was awful, but it definitely picks up in book 2, so I definitely recommend persevering if you like sort of YA science fiction and fantasy. Next is a book that I very cheekily picked up over the weekend. I did pick up a couple of extra books over the weekend that I was away with Mercedes. It was kind of like a weekend off from no book buying, so I did treat myself to a couple of books, and there was 2 I saw when I was at the train station that I was really drawn to. This one is called Mad Girl, A Happy Life with a Mixed Up Mind by Bryony Gordon. Bryony is a columnist for The Telegraph in the UK, and it's also, it says, a best-selling author, happily married mother of a daughter, an adorable daughter, and this is looking at her struggles with OCD, and I just think it'd be quite interesting. It's something that I potentially feel like I may have very, you know, small markers in, so yeah, just something that I'm really interested in finding out a bit more about and reading about how she's coped with it. And it has been said that it shines a light on the dark secrets of mental illness and shows them for what they are, commonplace. So I can't wait to try this one out. And the other one I picked up was 6 Stories, and this is by Matt Wesolowski. This sounded really intriguing and it just drew me in as soon as I saw it. I think it's a story of 6 stories, 6 accounts of a particular event. So in 1997, Scarclaw fell. The body of teenager Thomas Jeffries is found at an Outward Bound centre. Verdict, misadventure, but not everyone is convinced. 2017, enter elusive investigative journalist Scott King, whose podcast examinations of complicated cases have rivaled the success of Serial, with his concealed identity making him a cult internet figure. In a series of 6 interviews, King attempts to work out how the dynamics of a group of idle teenagers conspired with the sinister legends surrounding the fell to result in Jeffrey's mysterious death. A chilling, unpredictable and startling thriller, 6 Stories is also a classic murder mystery with a modern twist and a devastating ending. And I just thought that sounded really interesting, so I can't wait to get stuck into this one. Right, and then I was very, very kindly given some books when I went to a publisher event recently. So these are all books that were published by Glance, so let's have a look. This one's an oldie, but one that I still haven't got to, and that's Ursula Le Guin's The Left Hand of Darkness. Now, I know a lot of people really enjoy this, and so I felt like it was time that I picked this one up. It's a story of somebody who is on an alien planet looking into the species and sort of learning more about them. They're an interesting species because they can be neither male nor female, or both, depending on their sexual time of the month and fertility and stuff. It just sounds really interesting, and a really fun look into another world, and I think it'll be quite an in-depth look into this world, so I'm intrigued by this one. Then also at the Orion Blog Fest event, I picked up this one. This one was really exciting. It's called The Last Namsara by Kristin Ciccarelli. We actually had sort of a Skype interview or Skype conversation with Kristin, and it just sounds like a really interesting book. It's her first book. It's got dragons in it. I think it's YA, and it's about a dragon slayer, and it's got some twists and turns and a bit of an unlikable narrator, which is always an interesting one for me, so I'm looking forward to trying this one out. And this one comes out on the 5th of October. Then I picked up this one purely for its cover, and it says From Darkest Skies, and it's by Sam Peters. I just thought the cover of this looks brilliant. So this is a story about a man. His wife dies, and 5 years later he puts sort of her consciousness or her into an AI, and this AI becomes sort of her, so to speak, and he purely does this for the purpose of her discovering who it is that murdered her. And the sort of story progresses. I think the husband forms an attachment with this AI, and I'm sure the mystery of her death will unravel, so I'm looking forward to seeing if I enjoy this one. Science fiction is always a little bit hit and miss for me, so I want to try a little bit more. Now this one, I've been told not to judge a book by its cover, because the cover is truly horrendous and cringeworthy, in my opinion, but it's called The Switch by Justina Robson. Look at that man. I don't think you can see him very well, but he's very broody. But I think it's kind of fulfills its purpose when you find out the premise of the book, but still it would have turned me off in a bookshop, which is probably a shame because I bet it's probably quite a good read. So I believe in order to be, you know, top dogs and to be at the top in this society, you have to be perfect looking, and those that have any sort of anomaly or difference are done away with. And I think there's gangs and all sorts of things, and maybe different walls or boundaries for where different people can live. So I'll be interested to see where this one goes, and whether the front cover is just, you know, an off-putting front cover, or whether it is truly synonymous with what the book's about. I haven't read A House of Shattered Wings yet by Aliette de Bodard, but The House of Blinding Thorns was out at the event, and so I picked it up. So I don't want to read the blurb on this, but this is book 2 after The House of Shattered Wings, and that is a story about I believe sort of angels and demons, so I'm looking forward to picking this one up after I've read the first one. I picked up this one called Stranger of Tempest by Tom Lloyd. Now it looks a bit darker from the front cover to the type of books that maybe I would pick up, but I think it's important sometimes to put yourself out of your comfort zone. This is book 1 of a series called The God Fragments, and it says, for a damsel in distress, she was rather more spattered with someone else's blood than Lynx had expected, and naked, very naked. Well, she demanded. Lynx could only gape a while longer. Finally his words spilled out in an abashed mumble. Come to rescue you, miss. Well, you'll have to wait, she snapped as the knot of mercenaries crowded the doorway. I'm busy. That sounds really good. Sounds like we've got a proper kick-ass female character here, so I'm hoping that she is a big player in the book. We shall see, but yeah, this sounds really good. Another book that was there with the author was Black Wing by Ed McDonald. This again sounds possibly out of my comfort zone, but one I would really be interested in reading after hearing him talk. It's a place divided by war, and its people are fighting, and it's quite dark. I think it's sort of medieval in its feel, so yeah, I'm excited to see where this one goes. And then the final one I picked up while I was there is called White Fur. It comes out this month and it's by Jardine Libert. And it said on the front, which is what made me pick it up, pretty woman meets a little life via 1980s New York in this urban, edgy Romeo and Juliet. And on the back it says, Elise, a street smart girl from the wrong side of the tracks. Jamie, the golden son of a wealthy and powerful East Coast family. They make an unlikely couple. At first theirs is a classic tale of sexual obsession, of wanting something you shouldn't have. But as they get to know each other, what started as a challenge gradually transforms and their obsession slowly turns into something more like love. Jamie leaves behind his Yale education, divorcing his family and their wealth, and they invent a new life together that surprises them both. But Jamie's controlling family are not going to give him up that easily. That sounds really exciting to me, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then finally, another book that I was sent for review by the publisher, and this is called The Lines We Cross by Randa Abdel Fattah. And on the back, this says, a boy, a girl, two families, one great divide. Michael is drawn to his new classmate, Mina, but they are the opposite sides of an issue that's tearing their town apart. His parents are part of an anti-immigration group, while her family have fled their besieged home in Afghanistan. As tensions rise, lines are drawn and both must decide what matters the most. I think this is quite a current book. There seems to be quite a few YA books especially coming out on this topic at the moment, and I think it's a really important one, so I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in and seeing what I think of this. And this is it already out? Yes, this came out on the 4th of May, so it is available now if it's something that you're interested in reading. So anyway, that's all the books from publishers and the couple that I bought this month. I will be talking about my Shelf Slam picks in another video. We haven't quite had a chance to do our little Google Hangout and open them yet, so I will do a quick book haul and let you know what books the girls got me for Shelf Slam this month, later in the month. But that is all of the books that I have coming in for the moment. Now I need to get on with reading ones and getting them out so that I am clearing my shelves. Anyway, have you read any of these? Any of these sound interesting to you? Let me know as always in the comments below, and I look forward to speaking to you soon. Bye for now, BookTube.